Hi, I'm Natalie Tadavio. I'm a mixed media artist and a lot more than that. Isn't it funny, the labels that we give ourselves? um, I make art though. I was thinking about why do I make art? Yesterday I turned 42. Hey. There's been a lot of emotional upheaval in my life. I don't know about you guys, but the last 6 months has been interesting. And I would say the last 6 years of my life has been very interesting. In the fall of 2015, I started to unravel really intensely. At the time, I didn't realize that's what was happening. And then 2016, things seemed to be evening out. I went to like a shamanic workshop at Omega with Hank Wesselman, and that like really changed me. And then at the end of 2016, on December 6th, 2016, I had a huge awakening experience that is too hard to put into words. I don't really like the word awakening because I feel like we're always waking up to more. We're also always falling asleep and then waking back up. And that's the way I see it. We're always flipping in and out of consciousness, and there isn't like a final destination of arrival. At least life has shown me that. So 2016, at the end of December, on December 6th, that set me off. And 2017 was a nightmare. And then I was trying to desperately search externally for the answers. And, it led me to a place that still has a big question mark on it. Because, we can receive answers, but we can also, usually when there's one answer, there's a lot more questions. So things didn't go the way I envisioned. I was at a spiritual retreat, and I actually had a crisis by the end of it. I don't know if it was just too much energy from what was going on previously of me falling apart. That week was like extra potent. By the end of that, I wasn't eating or sleeping very much. It was like the perfect storm. But I wanted to give voice to that experience, because when I left, I was in kind of a worse condition than than when I went there. And it was hard, very hard. In time, I put a lot of blame on myself for that experience because of the way I had envisioned it. I thought I was following this thread in this thing, and maybe I was and still am, but it really put me over the edge. I don't know if you've ever been over the edge. I've been over the edge many times, whether it was in addiction and drugs, emotional anxiety and traumas from early childhood, and then the spiritual over the edge, which is, they're all different, but they're all extremely on the falling apart and breaking apart side. So luckily, I did have another teaching that was coming in at the same time online, improving shamanic wisdom teachings, and then art, so simultaneously art came back, but I was in these shambles and this complete pulverization of everything I ever known. I'm actually going through that again right now, but it's in a different way. So I think that's why I'm recounting 2017 and all of those times, to kind of like reaffirm that that's what happened for me. And like this time I'm in a grounded, balanced state, and I wasn't at the time. But so here's the thing, looking back on it, I was feeling everything all at once. In my 30s, I was totally bypassing so many things. I'm laughing because, if you ever thought you knew and then it just gets pulverized to the ground, well, hi. Welcome to life. But I didn't know that I would, a lot of the time we have best intentions with where we're going, but we don't always see the full picture. And life sometimes shows us in different kinds of ways. Whether it's hard or not is, maybe it's up to us in the end, because what I could identify back then, once I like worked it out, I was just grasping so much for the external, for just someone to tell me that it was okay to be here. I was also like losing my identity, and having a lot of awakening experiences, for lack of like going into all of that. So I was coming online within myself, but it's like at the same time everything's falling away, and then everything's trying to come out, and it was it was like not easy, for sure. So lots of times we can look back and like see the gift within the crisis. What I could see is that I just wasn't surrendering, and I was trying to hold on to that the rigidity within myself, and like at that crisis point really brought a lot back, not just like in spiritual awareness, but just like realizing that I don't have to hold it all anymore, or I can learn to hold it all in an open way instead of a closed way, and be more gentle with myself in the process. Of course, that's like a process and a practice, just like an art and creative practice. It takes a while to like ascertain and develop and find like what you're really into, and then it takes another layer of commitment to like stand with it and say, yes, this is me. And and I can see like a direct relation to like me standing and saying, this is my story and this is my art right now, like, because the art feels more confident and I feel more confident. So it's interesting to notice. And I think it's true, art to life, right? Anyway, that's a cool experience to have, and like no one can really you have to give that to yourself, right? I think all my external seeking, I didn't realize I just needed to give more stuff to myself, right? Because all of these ideas and ideologies and teachings and teachers, whether it's in art or life, spirituality, it's like nobody really has a definitive answer. They just might have lived more experiences or had more awareness and awakenings. But the thing that I think the realization at 42 at this time is within me is that saying no can be just as spiritual, and choosing your directive and direction can be just as spiritual. Listening to some crazy music that you like could be just as spiritual. I used to like think spirituality was over here, like this place I go to, but but really it's like life. So this painting has been chosen, and it's in a new show with the Artist Alliance called Sweet and Sour, and it's called Little Reminders. That's all it is, right? My story is a reminder to you to just keep doing you, and it also helps me anchor my experience, and in the honest reflections I can see myself more clearly. And that's just awareness, and it isn't like a status, it's just it is what it is, right? I laugh because I think in the end it is like simple, but we overcomplicate it, and I still do this. I could say like I'm speaking from these soulful places sometimes that come online within me, but I still have to be like a steward to like the work, and it's life and art is like a journey, and it can be hard at times. The reason why I want to come out and share my story now is because we can see the times, at least from my perspective, on an energetic level, the polarity shift is widening a lot, and it's creating like like a fall off, and I understand like what that means to be falling right off within yourself. Unfortunately, I guess I do understand. I just want to like help you understand that in order to evolve and grow into something more that we're all becoming, whether we're aware of it or not, it does require like due diligence to the self and then internal looking. And you know what is great about an art practice and a creative practice and a drawing practice is like we can really start to connect to ourselves and find that inner awareness on a deeper level when we commit and show up daily. And it doesn't have to be serious, but it can be, right? So it's learning to separate out all of the stuff and dialing it into what an individual needs in the moment, and then working from that place. And that's gonna be different for all of us because life, we don't have the same perception and experience. So a lot of this story is about finding voice and vision for me. Voice because I was so shy, shut down, abandoned, abused, neglected. But overall, like what I've learned throughout the last couple decades, and even I'm still learning, is like how not to abandon myself. And sometimes that means speaking up, standing up, and that can be equally important, and you can still have love in that moment, right? And compassion, but most of all you have love for yourself, where you're not going to take the abuses around you anymore, whether it's emotionally, energetically, spiritually, physically, and like we tend to like not look at what abuses are. So the thing about not taking on anything, there's a big period where there's a big reset within ourselves, and like you're changing a lot internally, and maybe rapidly too, because it doesn't take as long as it used to. That's for sure, to come into these quicker awarenesses, because it seems like we're getting go left, go right, get to the bottom, get to the root of the issue. This is a different way to look at it, and this is my experience. So I'm, I'm not saying that this is like a definitive thing, but it's more for like whoever's in resonance with what I'm saying, you know. And it's my story, right? I think it's so important that we start to like tell our stories in a, you know, in this honest way, when we can, if we want to, because I think that creates an opening. At least that's what I've seen over the last couple of years, as I keep daring to like step outside of myself and like say one thing, and you know, I'm constantly reminded and shown that people, you know, feel the same. But it's not everybody, you know. I don't know, the mind wants to like, we just want to be accepted, you know, for who we are at these like deep levels, especially if we weren't accepted as children and like had to face a lot of like hardships, whether that was in school or like within our home, or maybe it was both. um, and then so that pain of abandonment is like a loss that we need to grieve. But what happens with art and creativity, and even like a spiritual directive, and the understanding that we're connected to all that is and in relation with everything, is that there's like a reclaiming that happens, and there's a sovereignty and a realization that, you know, this is my story and that's your story. But through the reflection, we can open and connect into like a wider and deeper experience. And I think art is always doing that, you know, at least for me. When I engage something and when I'm working, it's always giving me something deeper and something more. And ooh, I just love that aspect of it. For me, it was always about delivering the messages and receiving, and it is very shamanic, and direct like revolution within myself. And I was always so worried about it being too deep, you know, but like for me, just to take up space, just to say this now, is like 1,000% like someone I'm not, but it's who I'm becoming, you know. And at 42, I realized, whoa, you know, it's cool to like just be in our own like sovereignty and autonomy, and like say it. You know, what's been going on for me is when I hear stuff or feel stuff, it's just saying say it. And you know, I've been in fear most of my life, and the last 4 years, you know, has really been an intense removal of things, and this last year has been an intense looking at the deeper layers and things that hold me back. And like I just keep getting confused, like I love art, but like if it needs to fit into this structure in this way, am I gonna, I don't know like how to, but that's not like who I am, you know. It doesn't maybe need to fit into those structures. And like so I'm like choosing this direction, and it scares me, but I'm choosing it anyway. And there's so much more behind that, I think, when I stand in that, and speak it. And I don't know what it all means, right? Sometimes we don't. Why do good people die? Like right before COVID, I lost a friend. And it wasn't because of COVID, it was right when it was happening. It just, but like she was the nicest person that I've ever known. I'm just saying, is like we don't know what we're promised, right? It's like that quote in the Lord of the Rings, all we can do is I'm gonna butcher it. Like, we have the time now to do this thing. So it's about not holding on. But it is about feeling those feelings, right? Because we don't want to be like unemotional, and we don't want to like stuff all down, because then that creates resentment and anger and all those things, right? So it's like tending to those awarenesses and like watching things die and watching things grow and being a witness to all of that. And this is little reminders, the painting that kind of speaks to all of it, speaks to that, the idea of like we're all just little reminders in the like bigger picture of life. And through these like honest reflections and poetic expressions and artful creations, we can entertain and find ourselves again. And that's so cool. Like and it is that is an important part of it, right? I don't know, I think it's easy for me to forget too. And I would say like every time I make these videos so far is like I'm just reminding myself a little reminder, because I can fall off track and forget and like get lost in that external. But of course, I'm not saying that it's wrong. It's just like whatever you want, right? So, and it's like holding it all like gently and not like being like trapped and forced, and honoring your energetic being in the process. And trying to like learn from everything, even the hard times, because there will be mistakes and there are failures. Like I don't know why people are afraid to say that. Why we're so afraid? Probably because like it hurts sometimes to like hear something, but it hurts equally to like hide something and feel like you don't know what's going on. And then so it's like maybe like the healing is in like when Rumi says the wound is where the light enters you. It's in that revealing that is the healing, but it's not always what we want. I didn't receive this understanding without great pain on some level and great hardship. But like what I eventually could work out within me, that it was my choice to not like choose it anymore. Yeah. Well, but like, so it's always a choice, and that's what's scary, I think, because then that becomes our responsibility for everything. Oh, I know. So like we can choose to show up to our work and find our, like, we want to find our voice, we gotta like do the work to go there. And sometimes it's scary. In the beginning it's real scary, because like you're not maybe as good if you're just starting out, and or you need to know these other things and you don't have all the information, so like you're kind of lost in the journey. But it's like you have to keep moving forward and learn to like separate it all out and realize that even in hard times we can still be present. and sometimes we do have to fall apart in order to grow back. We'll grow back stronger, right? And and I know this because it's happened in many ways and many times. And to be here now saying this is just, I wanted to honor turning 42 and all the hard times that I've been through, and honor where I like, because I'm ready to close that door for good and move on to like what life has called me to, and not be afraid. I mean, I'm gonna be afraid, but I'm going to try to do it anyway. um, but like not be so trapped in the illusions anymore. And I think that is like the deeper truth of to just be you, and to know that it's safe. And if you weren't nurtured, because we all have hard things fall on us, and but it's easy to get disillusioned in the process. But like when we start breaking all those spells that surround us, we start to like open and reclaim that power within. And art has the ability to do that, but so does life. And when you put the two together, it's like powerful. Thank you for listening to this video about me turning 42 and some reflections in art and life that I've come to speak upon at this time. And I'm also, as an artist and that makes art, but also as an artist of the heart, I'm called to like move in these different directions, but I'm always going to be making art and bringing out that childlike spirit. And Nelly Didamio art is about that creative spirit and that reclamation within. It's more than just painting, you know. It's it's the message and the honesty and the truths that are with me for these times that I want to start speaking on. So if you're interested, and if you liked this video, just hit like, subscribe, and you could always find me at nataliedidamio.com, more about me, and that's going to be changing. There's a lot of changes coming, so stay tuned, and thank you for being here.